Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 8 of the Austin E-GP at Assen. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. Actually, one of the better tracks I've seen for some good competition in the past, so... Of course, we're talking about the pros there. But, that being said, some of these guys in this league have started to get kind of fast, so I think it might be kind of a fun evening to watch. I think we did have early, Richard was saying that he was not feeling well, so we will not have Justin Richard in this evening. Too bad, and I hope he gets better. So we're just kind of waiting on everybody to get readied up and started for Moto 3 here. Oops, I think I left a couple of things misconfigured. There we go. Okay. Getting just sounds popping through that shouldn't be popping through. All right. This evening is, of course, our Xbox League. Tomorrow evening, if you are wanting to watch the PS4 guys, they will be doing Wednesday this week. Hopefully, we'll try to keep a Tuesday, Wednesday schedule from here on out. I haven't heard anything yet about specifics on that, but we will see what happens there. Your lovely announcer spent his weekend driving up to Arkansas and back, so I personally am exhausted. But that being said, always looking forward to seeing a little racing. We've only got a couple of folks waiting to ready up here. And then we'll start Moto 3 for the evening. Of course, as usual, it'll be Moto 3 at 7 o'clock, Moto 2, 7:30-ish, and GP at 8-ish. I don't know why I show actual times on this thing. I should just make it ish, right? More fun that way. As always, chat available on all the platforms that we are currently broadcasting to, which includes Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Smashcast. And I'm not going to bother getting Mixer working because apparently Microsoft has decided they're getting rid of that platform. Oh well. Nothing of value is lost. Also, hopefully here soon, we'll start getting more folks guest commentating with me. We'll see about that. I'm also looking at getting a bit of a different arrangement here in the studio for doing that. It's lonely in here by yourself. Probably would help if we scheduled these on a consistent day. More people would be watching, definitely. Let's see here. What am I getting? Oh, okay. Looks like we'll have an additional perspective tonight. Napes is going ahead and throwing up a Twitch stream, so we will work on getting him in there. Alrighty, 7 o'clock. We should have everybody just about readied up. And it looks like they are ready to go. Okay. We'll be starting qualifying right about now. As always, it'll be a 10-minute qualifying. Whoever's leading, that's who gets to be on the front row. Not quite sure what the weather was this evening either. I believe they were saying it looks like it's going to be clear in Assen. You know those Dutchies. Okay, running cloudy this evening. Alrighty. Seems like something you see a lot more often when you're sitting out on the North Atlantic. Looks like we have... I guess that's Hutch. He is back. And Cagle out on track already. Boss and SOA pushing out as well. Dean out onto the track. 9 minutes in, we've already got a good portion of the field already out there. Looks like everybody is ready and at it today. Be a little cooler thanks to the cloudy weather. That should add a little more flexibility and tire choice. Assen having a lot of parts of the track where speeds are definitely slower and more technical. So I'm looking forward to an interesting race this week. Even their fastest part of the track, heading out through 5, 6, and 7, it's even got a little bit of a kink to it. So you got to be careful hitting down there. Oh, as we have a couple of early wrecks. Everybody having to get that out of their system. That's right, boys. Throw it out off the track. Your ignorance. I don't know who that one is. I'm not sure who that is. I don't know if we've had them in here before. All right, our first lap of the day, a 147.718. We'll see what everybody else does with that. SOA 6.5 seconds off of that. Gonna need to work a little to catch it up. But again, those first laps are always a little bit slow as everybody gets everything dialed in. 7 minutes remaining in qualifying. Alrighty, Hutch coming in a second off of Bear. Decided to go ahead and charge to the top of the board and qualifying with a 146.6. Hines at a 146.4. So he and Bear in there close. And then Voss coming in and stomping both of them down, putting them a second down from his 145.390. Very solid from Voss. Oh, Napes with a bit of an off. Hopefully he'll be setting a time soon. Jay now just about 6 seconds off of the lead. SOA sitting 8.8 seconds back. He'll need to go ahead and get everything dialed in there. Get himself set up. Let's go ahead and ride along with our current lead for qualifying here. Take a look at how it's going at Voss's end. Oh, looks like he's having to restart there. That's the one thing you can do during qualifying. It's a little during the races. You can roll off the track. You can have a lot of things happen, but during qualifying, you can always pop back and start your flying lap again, just in case you feel like the current lap is going to be a waste of time. 5 minutes remaining in qualifying. Voss, Hines, and Bear, your leaders currently. Oh, Nape's having another off. Looks like he's just having a rough time warming up this evening. And Hines has managed to bump his time down just a bit further, now 1 second even off of Voss. Meanwhile, the rest of the field 2 seconds plus back. We'll see if everybody can get it together. I have yet to see Napes or Cagle finish a lap, which is kind of rare for them. We're sitting 3 minutes and 20 seconds from the start. We'll see if they can get that done yet. Voss managing to push his time down just a little bit further, putting him the tiniest bit over a second ahead of Hines. He's waiting for folks to turn in some more laps here. Cagle finally gets himself up on the board, putting him in 5th, 3 seconds down from the leaders. 3.5 seconds now as Hines manages to bump Voss's time down to second. Hines putting in a 1:44.890. Clearly going to have a good fight this evening there. Meanwhile, 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining in qualifying. Alrighty. just under a minute remaining. Hines holding first. Voss very close. Not even half a second behind in second. Bear sitting 1.7 seconds back off of them. The rest of the pack having a little trouble warming up and getting in there this evening. But that being said, even the furthest back isn't 10 seconds, so it'll probably be another good competitive evening like we had last time. Hopefully Napes will get himself a lap in here. Haven't seen him finish one yet. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Oh, looks like Hines and Voss both possibly have invalidated laps there, so that's probably going to be all they're going to get this evening, but doesn't look like they're in too much risk of losing their times there. Napes puts himself on the board right next to Cagle. They took their time getting a lap out this evening. They wind up right next to each other. As we're waiting for everybody to finish up here, there is no time left in qualifying. So at this point, if you wreck out, you have any kind of penalty on you, anything like that, you will not get to finish. Everybody that's still out on the track will get to finish whatever lap they were on. And there we are. So Hines, Voss, and Bear covering your front row. I believe it was Hutch, Cagle, and Napes. On your second row, Jay, Dean, and your ignorance. I don't remember who that one is. Round out the field for the evening on Moto 3 on the Xbox at Assen. It's always a good day for racing, folks. Alrighty. It'll be a brief moment while everybody gets their tires and final adjustments sorted out. We'll see how this one works out today. Wait for everybody to get things sorted here. Shouldn't be too much longer. We'll start our first race of the evening. Alrighty. Looks like everybody has readied up and we are just about to start. It's time to race. Alrighty, as our front row is off. Hines and Voss looking like they're kind of... Oh, they were fighting with each other there for a moment on the start. And immediately... Oh, man! Nick J finds himself wrecking out. Coming into the first turn. As we're looking at Hines sitting back in third. Oh, no, we have another wreck. B. Hutch going down. And Voss holding on out front. Hines sitting in second. Oh, man, it looks like there's enough. Oh, wow, the carnage in the field winds up shaking the order up considerably. Cagle finds himself in third. Voss up in first. Hines in second. Bear is pushed all the way back to fourth. Ignorance sitting in fifth. As Hines is now trying to make up the difference from Voss, gaining on him real early. Bear manages to push his way all the way up into fourth. So don't count him out. You never can. That guy will be all over you. Maybe you underestimate him. Not even a second off of Cagle's tail. Ooh, rolling off the track there, though. Risky move. Manages to hold it all together. Through the chicanes in 17. One lap down, and we have Voss sitting in first with a 151.3 for his first lap. Hines sitting 1.1 seconds off of his tail. And Cagle managing to hold on to third, 3.5 seconds off of Hines. Oh! Bear getting a little competition there from Hutch. This is the battle right here, though. You're going to see this fight in fourth and third. Let's see how this one goes. It's looking like first and second. It's going to be just Voss and Hines fighting each other for that, and neither of them seems to be making any gains on either one. But meanwhile, the fight for third place is hard. Here we are, as we've seen in the past. Hell, from the first week we were doing the race, we've got Bear and Cagle fighting with each other. Bear right on top of him, but not much further behind. You've got Napes and Hutch currently. Bear pushing a really aggressive line, and Cagle swings wide. Bear just slips under him and takes it. Very nice move by Bear, taking advantage of a momentary mistake by Cagle. Cagle now on the back foot, having to see if he can catch back up. From the kind of speed he was holding most of the race, I would say he could go to either of them. Meanwhile, up front, things not changing much. Voss holding on to his lead. Hines still setting a second and a half off of him. Voss can't get away, but Hines can't close the distance currently. Oh, and Napes with an off. That's unfortunate. Jay manages to take sixth. He's only a little under 3 seconds off of Hutch. Cagle out in the grass, way out in turn 7. Very quickly losing sight of Bear. Bear basically with a see ya, and he is gone. Oh, man. Cagle didn't wreck, but that's about all he managed to not do there. That was a big old mistake. Now it's going to be tricky to see who can hang on, who can get to third, or if Bear just gets to hang on to it by himself. Very nice work by Bear. First taking advantage of one mistake, then another. And he's got that third place to himself now. Depending on how well he can hang on to it. Meanwhile, the front of our pack, Voss has barely managed to stretch things out. Just the tiniest bit. Adding another probably 0.3 of a second to his lead. He's really not going to stretch that out very much from the look of it. Now we're looking at Hutch and Cagle fighting over fourth. Hopefully they won't get too rough with the fight. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves stuck way back off of Bear, who's having a great evening after a rough start. He is just incredibly consistent tonight. He's carrying good lines and just doing wonderful. Once he got out of the pack, he's had great control of it. Oh my, and that fight for... Ooh, look at this. That fight for fourth is currently a three-man fight with Napes jumping in there as well. There you can see the view from Cagle's perspective. It's going to be rough trying to decide who has a chance to have a run at third. Oh, Napes a little wide. Everybody a little bit off into the grass there as Napes swings really wide. Ooh, Cagle slipping under him in turn 10. Can he hold it? Oh, a little kiss there from Napes on the rear. Woo, that was rough. Napes manages to get up under Cagle and hold on to his position. But Cagle nearly made him pay for those mistakes. Meanwhile, Hutch slipping ahead. Oh! As Cagle on the outside, right around Napes. But can he hold it? Has he gone in too hot into 17? Oh! Napes back all over him. Oh man, how's that going to work out? Meanwhile, ooh, fourth place just leaving them both behind. We'll see what happens there. We've got three. Oh! Napes up and under coming into turn one. Can he hold on to it though? He was a little too hot, a little too wide. Now into turn three, Napes managing to hold it and get the outside pass. Coming around four, can he hold on to it? Into five, Cagle with the way too far inside. Oh man, that didn't quite do it for him, and he's gonna take a penalty there. Yeah, he can't be that far inside, it'll cost you. Hines, meanwhile, manages to take first. Believe we might have had a mistake by... Yep. It looks like Voss did the one thing you don't do when you've got Hines behind you. He made a mistake. And that puts him at number 2 with Bear all over him. Look at this. Hines suddenly with a 4.8 second lead over Voss. You just don't get to make mistakes with Hines behind you. But it's rare to see that out of Voss. He's got it all to do to catch that back up. Now to turn 18, we are headed into lap 6 of 8. There you can see a brief glimpse of Hines up there out in the head. He's going to try to make away like a bandit with that steal. Good God, that is a big mistake. Bear, meanwhile, now has a look at second. Hopefully he can capitalize on it, but it does look like Voss is going to start stretching out that lead. Yep. Out to 1.6 seconds from almost nothing. Voss just extremely quick. Bear taking that short line. We'll see if he can catch it up. Man, oh man. That is an interesting trade-up. Just can't make mistakes at the front of this pack. We wait for Bear to try and catch up. I don't think he's going to be able to. It looks like Voss has got this a bit more figured out. I think he has moved up. Yep, he's moved up another 0.2 seconds. Ooh, Bear having a little bit of a shake going over the inside there. Meanwhile, Napes and Jay battling it out mid-pack. Oh, and Bear swinging really wide coming into turn 3. I think that's going to cost him the chance to get up into second. That might be the last of what he had. Yep, a little rough around 5 as well. Yeah, it looks like Voss is just going to fly ahead there. Yep, he's moved up to almost a 3-second lead. Bear not making any major mistakes, but Voss just amazingly quick around this track. We cut back to taking a better look at the overview here. And it looks like this evening, at least for Moto 3, things are going to get kind of stretched out here throughout the field, which is a surprise because during the actual qualification or qualifying, everybody was pretty close. But sometimes it just, oh no, and Bear has an off. This might open up third for competition. We'll see. Watch for that change on the 4th place time. We'll see if Hutch can take advantage of it. Yep, he moves up to 3.5 seconds off. But whether he can make that happen on the last lap is going to be really difficult. Meanwhile, Cagle is not far off of Hutch either. Napes is fallen back. He and Jay fighting each other. Ignorance goes down again, unfortunately, finding himself way back. We'll see if he gets a chance to finish the race at this point. With it being final lap, and you get 30 seconds after your front crosses the line. Hutch goes down. Cagle into 4th. Oh, man. Might have had a chance at 3rd on that last lap there, but that'll probably cost him. That's rough. We'll see how much churn we actually get. You're looking at Cagle here sitting in 4th. Looking though like Bear is 7 seconds, almost 7 seconds ahead of him. It would require another mistake from Bear, and he's been pretty consistent this evening. He did have the one mess up there, but he's been really consistent the rest of the time. I don't think Cagle's going to get the chance. Even if he drives this amazingly, there's no way he can make up more than a second and a half. That's rough. He had a good chance early on, but man, sometimes the mistakes will just cost you. Alrighty, as we are just about to finish the race. And there we go. Hines and Voss already across the line. Bear taking a 3rd place. Well fought 3rd place. Cagle winding up in 4th. Just couldn't put it back together for the rest of the race, unfortunately. Oh, and Jay having a bit of a wipeout looking at the finish line there, unfortunately. And there we go, folks. That'll be your Moto 3 for the evening. Hines doing a great job capitalizing on a Voss mistake to take first. Voss in second didn't lose it, even though the fact is third got real close to him after his mistake. He didn't make any more after that. Bear and Cagle. Unfortunately, Cagle unable to capitalize on his early shot at the front of the pack. So there you go, folks. There you can see, man, everybody having lap times that are within 5 seconds of each other. It's just, it all comes down to mistakes and consistency. So, thanks for watching Moto 3 at Assen on the Xbox this evening. We'll take a brief break and we'll be back with qualifying for Moto 2. Alrighty, it's looking like they have readied up, and we're just about to start qualifying for Moto 2 at Assen on the Xbox. We'll see if it's as competitive as Moto 2 for the Xbox guys was last week, because that was a great race. Alrighty, looks like we already have a few folks out on the track. We'll cut over to there. Yep, looks like Voss, Cagle, Hines, Hutch, Mapes, and Jay are all out on the track already. You can see some tail out action going immediately. Oh no! Oh, Cagle having a bit of a rough off there. Oh no! You guys having a rough moment there, but fortunately they're getting it out of the way early. Yep. That's one way to warm up the tires. I hear rashing up the fairing is absolutely wonderful for warming up the tires. Who cares if it's pretty so long as it goes, right? What is this madness we're watching here between Voss and Cagle? What are these two doing? All right, guys, come on. Get it under control. Let's get a qualifying, not a boxing match. Eight minutes remaining in qualifying. God, if only I could talk this evening. We are seeing what we get here. I think Cagle's possibly going to be our first one through with a lap finish here. We'll see what he sets. Oh, looks like he's showing an invalid lap there, so I don't think it'll count for him, unfortunately. Hutch putting down a 139.890, which is right about what you expect for a difference. As Voss going ahead and starting again, Nick J putting up our second time on the board, 3.98 seconds off of that 139.890. Meanwhile, Bear coming in only 0.265 seconds behind Hutch. I guess he's decided he wants that front row again, despite the fact that it was a little rough that first time being up there. He did get third out of the race, so didn't work out too bad for him. Hines, meanwhile, putting down a 138.921. That'll be enough to put him in first and push Hutch almost a second back. And there comes Voss, putting Hines almost half a second back. Momentary setback with that wreck early on, but Voss is back out there and showing him how it's done. So a second and a half between first and third so far in qualifying. But Bear only setting 0.2 seconds back off of that, so nobody's safe. Jay, 5.3 seconds back. Hopefully he can find some more time in there. Meanwhile, Cagle setting a 2.95 or setting 2.953 off of first place. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. You can see here, that's Voss and I believe Cagle. You can see that Voss just has those tighter lines overall. That's what's given him that ability to just fly ahead of everybody else. Very, very tight control of his lines. Bear, meanwhile, manages to push ahead of Hines, putting himself only 0.2 seconds off of Voss for a moment. Oh, and Hines answering with only 0.046 seconds off of Voss. Apparently these guys are just going to split hairs for the front line. Oh, Nape's having another off, unfortunately. He hasn't turned in a lap yet. Him and SOA are both kind of in the same boat there. Ignorance, meanwhile, 10 seconds back. Hopefully they can tighten that up. We are looking at just about 4.5 minutes remaining in qualifying. Let's take a look at your current qualifying leader. He's got very nice lines around the track. That's the one thing I've noticed. Just very tight control of what he's doing. You'll note you don't necessarily have to stick right on those lines they show you. You can have a little creativity with it. 10 being very tight, as it's the moment where you start to head back towards the start-finish line. It's the one thing about Assen, despite the fact that it looks like it's really, really long and straight, it's actually pretty technical. Doesn't quite have the high speeds you'd expect when you really look at the map at first. The chicane there between 16, 17, 18 is just brutally hard, and that's coming right up to the finish line. Meanwhile, just over 3 minutes remaining in qualifying. Voss continues to hold on to it for now. 138.281, putting him 0.1 seconds ahead of Hines, so he goes ahead and gives himself a little breathing room, but man, there is only 0.406 seconds back off of first. And then Hutch sitting 0.781. Your current during qualifying, first through fourth place, they're sitting within a second of each other. A lot of speed and competition there. 2 sections already for Voss, setting qualifying bests. But Bear was on track for it. Then I think he had a bit of an off and wasn't able to finish it. 2 minutes, 10 seconds remaining. So might get in another couple laps if you start now. And you have solid laps. Oh no! Voss was on a solid lap and hit auto driving from Bear. Bear had just restarted his lap, threw him out. Unfortunately, that means what was looking to be a really, really hot lap just gets lost. He does have time for one more though, so he can at least get that down. That's the unfortunate thing. When people are in auto drive, even if they want to be courteous to you and let you work on your hot lap, they can't do a damn thing about it. So that's a tough break for Voss there. He's still sitting in first though, and it doesn't look like Hines is going to beat him on this one. We'll see. Hines will probably get one more lap after this. So we'll see how this goes. I think it'll be down to Hines and Voss turning down solid laps this time. Bear, meanwhile, turning down personal best for two sections. We'll see what he can do with that. Maybe he can just punch it down a little bit further. Maybe he can get down past Hines and push second and qualify. Oh, that section, not quite enough. Meanwhile, you can see the back of the pack is pushed up to the point. Again, this happens consistently. There ain't 10 seconds between our entire pack. So it is competitive. Oh, there we are. Bear, unfortunately, cannot push it down any further. but still that is not slow. Only 0.406 seconds off of our first place. He is doing great tonight. He has been consistently good throughout the season. So good to see him doing well. And again, he's only going to get scarier. That tag ain't bullshit. He races one-handed. He is going to cause some pain at some point, and we're all going to regret letting him in. Meanwhile, Hines looking really good on track 2 sections, showing qualifying best. Maybe Hines is going to push up to the pole. We'll see. Voss, unfortunately, not having the same hot lap he had before he had that unfortunate off on his second to last. And Hines at the last second manages to move the time down 0.3 seconds faster. So there you go. Hines will be your pole position for Moto 2. Voss just behind him in second. Bear not very far behind either. Look at this. I mean, there isn't breathing room between your first, second, third. Hutch doesn't give him any room to breathe. It's 4 places. You can't make mistakes at the front of this pack tonight. I love seeing that. I don't know about you, but I love seeing that. Having a first place that is safe is boring. It's more fun when they're constantly under threat of having that place stolen from them, and it looks like we're going to have that again this evening. It was definitely there last week. That's what I will say. Last week, don't get me wrong, the racing was great all evening, but Moto 2 in particular was kind of brutal. So I am looking forward to this evening. Oh, as we wait for everybody to get everything dialed in, get their tire selections, any little suspension changes they want to make. As we get ready to start our actual race for Moto 2 at Assen on the Xbox. Hope everybody's excited as I am. I'm hoping we get exactly what we had last week. A good solid fight. All right, looks like everybody has readied up. So as soon as our race director hits the button, we are off. And there we go. All righty, here it is. Let's see what you boys got. Because it's all about what entertains the audience, right? And they are off. Hines doing a great job of making sure he takes advantage of that pole. Takes off and holds on to it immediately. Coming into first, we'll see how much in the way of bowling happens. I think it looked like, yes. Bear has managed to push into second. Voss has pushed back to third. SOA puts himself in fourth. Kegel pushed back to fifth. Having a pretty clean start. Oh, Bear pushed a little to the outside. Finds himself being pushed back to third. Everybody looking solid. No bowling in the first. Oh no, and Bear. Oh, and SOA both having an off. Bear trying to start again. Probably a little nervous from the wreck. And that's that. That costs him. Man, a bit of carnage. I guess I spoke too soon. As the pack manages to get things back together, but not before Hines and Voss out there in front, taking off with things. They're not going to make it easy for the rest of the pack. Anybody that wants it better keep the hell up. Cagle, meanwhile, has managed to push himself into third. Let's see if he can capitalize on it better than he did during the last race. He held on to it for a while. We'll see if he can actually keep it this time. Yep, through the tricky chicane. That thing is just brutal coming into the finish line. First lap at a 1 minute 42 seconds. And meanwhile, Bear has fallen way back. Look at him. This is way further back than we've seen him most of the time this evening. But that being said, I never count him out. Currently back in 8th, where there is a bit of a fight in front of him. It's going to take a while for him to get through traffic. And Cagle goes down, putting Napes into 3rd. Boy, this will be a bit of a shuffle, won't it? Meanwhile, Voss all over Hines. Look at this. Just not letting him get away. He has managed to close the distance this time. These two at it. Jay unfortunately goes down. Cagle pushes himself into 5th. SOA. Oh my God. Oh wow. Big old carnage at the back of the pack. Look at all the shifting. And Bear manages to move himself up to 6th in the middle of all of it. But what we're looking here at the front of the pack is Hines and Voss just all over each other. Keep in mind that for Moto 2, it's basically the same make of bike, the entire pack. And with how able to turn down close laps everybody in this group is, you give them the same bike and they might make a few adjustments here and there, but it's a close race. Voss and Hines putting in laps. They're within a 1/10 of a second of each other, so you're watching your top lap speed just change there real quick. Look at this. It's just a matter of who blinks first, who makes the mistake. Last race, Voss was the one out front. He made a mistake. Hines capitalized on it. So now Voss sitting behind Hines just going, do it. Do it, motherfucker. Make a mistake. Do it. He's just waiting on it. You can see him. Not letting him get away with it. Solid fight coming into 8. Maybe Hines can stretch it out. It's all going to be a matter of who's getting on the brakes better. And look at there. Hutch loses himself and Bear pushes into 4th. So Bear has worked his way up from 8th at this point to 4th. All that remains in 3rd is Napes, but Napes is not a slouch. He had a bit of a rough start during the last race, but we have seen him do some excellent stuff in the past. Meanwhile, Hines managing to stretch his lead on Voss out. These two both having a great race. Oh man, Voss just cannot close that distance no matter what he tries. Yep, both of them hard on the brakes coming into 1. They're both just going to have to be dangerously deep into each turn to either keep the lead or try to gain it. Oh, Cagle. That's his second off of the race, and Hutch takes advantage of it. Along with SOA. Man, that's a rough one for Cagle. I thought he'd have himself a podium this evening. Oh, but Hutch makes a mistake after getting the pass. Cagle moves back up another place. Meanwhile, you can see here Hines slowly stretching out a lead over Voss. Woo, don't make any mistakes now, man. That's one thing I'll say. Hines is always consistent. It is dangerous to let that man out ahead of you. Meanwhile, Napes in 3rd. It's going to be really hard to catch back up. Our third place is sitting 17 seconds back off of the lead. Ooh, his Voss swings really wide coming out of 12, going into 13. It's surprising how technical this track is despite these long straights. Here we go, 16, 17, 18. We are on lap 5 of 8, a little over halfway through our race. I haven't noticed anybody this evening having issues with tire selection or anything like that, so it's all down to how well they're driving and how well they picked any gearing, more than likely. Look at this. Voss all over Hines coming into 5. What a great line followed him in there. He almost had the passing opportunity. His next shot will probably come at turn 8. 7 is a rough one to get a pass on just because of how fast it is, so it'll probably happen at 8. We'll see if he can get on the brakes and get this one. Nope. He got close in 7. He didn't quite get it in 8. So we'll hit a little bit of twisties there, 9, and then 10 to turn around and head back towards the start-finish line. Meanwhile, I think I saw Cagle go down again. That's unfortunate. Yeah, that's going to put him back in 5th now. What a bummer for him. Bear, meanwhile, holding on to 3rd. I think, also that means Napes fell back. Actually, I'm not seeing Napes. I think he disconnected. Oh, his McDonald's Wi-Fi just cost him a race again, unfortunately. That's disappointing. Not to mention everybody else in the field. The last way they want to get a place is off of somebody losing connection. That's rough. Oh, and Jay goes down. As we see Voss and Hines coming hard into first turn. Through 2, both of them going hard. Look at neither of these guys letting off at all. Oh no, Voss swinging really wide. That's what happens when you're trying desperately to catch somebody else. You'll make a mistake because you get ahead of your own rhythm. Oh, but Hines kind of made a mistake there. Coming out of 5, so maybe when we come into the next turn, that might make a difference. Flying through 6th. A little bit of brake coming into 7. Now it's going to be hard on the brakes coming into 8. Let's see what that change did. Ooh, Hines did manage to stretch it out. He seems to be doing better through that fast section than Voss is. Oh, his hutch has an off. Not good. Oh, and Key has an off as well. I just happened to look up and catch that. Oh, that's what he is. Okay, that's key. Folks, the gamer tags don't match the names. I'm useless. I still haven't put together a sheet so I can know it. As Voss swings really wide, oh man. Any mistakes Hines made earlier in the track, Voss seems to not be as strong later in the track. So they just can't, if one of them makes a mistake, they trade places, but each one seems to have half of the track they're strong on, and that's about it. Coming through 1, Voss a little wide, but that's going to give him the chance to carry a bit more speed. Yep, this is what he does. He's carrying more speed through these first few sections, and he's all over Hines all the way through them. It looks like what we've got on this track is that Voss has done a better job of working out the technical short sections, the slower sections, but Hines has a better feel for the fast sections. Makes for a hard dynamic to work with. You're just waiting for the other guy to fuck up. Oh, as Jay has another off, unfortunately. That's a bummer. And Ignorance moves up into 6th. Look at this. I don't think we've yet had a fight for first that's lasted this long in the league. Key, meanwhile, pushing up into 4th, taking advantage of other mistakes. Bear Bear is 26 seconds back off of this fight for first and second. Jay having another off, unfortunately. Just having a bad evening. Dean going down as well. This is a tricky track, I have to admit. It can be a good one to watch, but it is just hard. And we are on the final lap. Hines and Voss haven't let go of each other yet, but the bottom line is if Voss wants to win this, there's only two ways it happens. Number one, Hines fucks up, which, to be honest, it is a scary thing to think of with somebody this close to you. Or number two, he just pulls out a miracle and manages to get those fast sections. And there it is. Look at that attempt at a pass. Can't quite get it. Super close to the sections he's been strong on. Oh man, if Hines does not stretch out the fast parts by a bunch, I can tell you right now, Voss is going to eat him alive. And look at this. Up under, Hines almost gets it. Not quite enough. Coming into 8. Maybe, no, not quite enough. Through the kinks. He's good through the fast section. Coming into 9, he's looking high. He can't do it there. Maybe he can get under for 10. Ooh, a little bit of contact. Both of them pushed around a little bit, and Voss manages to get the pass. Exiting 11, though, Hines says, I'm going to take it on the exit. Very well played by Hines. Coming out of 12, Hines stretching it out a bit more. Woo! These two are just not letting go. You can tell it's a matter of just who's tighter and who's a little better on their line by a foot or two. Coming through the chicanes. 16, 17, 18, and oh my God! What a close finish! What a close finish! Man, what a fight! What a hell of a fight for first that time. That was awesome to watch. That was really good. And Bear manages to get himself a nice, clean ride into third. Probably won't see much of the field finish after that. Yep, Cagle finds himself unfortunately out on that one. Taken fourth. So close, I thought he might get himself one this evening. We'll see what happens in GP. Boy, that was a hell of a race, though. Woo! Alrighty, we're taking a brief break as we get ready to start qualifying for GP. Alrighty, folks, look like we are just about ready for qualifying for GP, your last race of the evening at Assen on the Xbox. Hope everybody's looking forward to it. Moto 2 was great. Everybody's readied up now. We are getting ready for qualifying at this point. Just waiting for everything to load in. And it looks like qualifying is just about to start. Again, still cloudy for the evening. You've noticed it's been a lot easier to get tire selections correct with that. Waiting on everybody to finish loading here. As soon as they're done, we'll start getting folks out on the track and see what we can do here. And it looks like Hines is our first out on the track. And I guess he's decided to give himself a handicap this time as he takes the KTM out rather than his standard Suzuki. We'll see what he can do with it, though. I have seen him win over on the PS4 with this bike, so we'll see. Voss has also started as well. We'll see how it winds up with these two being out there. Obviously, the evening has been a lot of competition between these two. And that Moto 2 race between them was really intense. Hines through two sections already, and Voss also hustling his way out there. 8.5 minutes remaining in qualifying. Danger when you're working on these qualifying laps. Somebody suddenly pops out on their flying lap with the autopilot doing its thing. Whoa! As Ignorance takes down Hines right as he was about to finish his lap. That's annoying. Still got 8 minutes remaining in qualifying though, so we'll see what he can do with it. Yep, as Voss sets a 132.6 and Hines will just need to set another lap, unfortunately. That was kind of BS, I have to admit. That's one thing I kind of wish about the qualifying system. When the autopilot's on, they should make it so you can drive right through whoever's out there. So that's kind of annoying. And for this race, Richards has decided to join us after feeling sick earlier. So good to see him out there. Meanwhile, Hines starting another lap. We'll see what he can do with this. Coming up on Ignorance, whose auto driver was the one that caused the problem there. There we go. He manages to slip right around him. We'll see what he got. Oh, no. Oh, my God. As Hines getting interfered with for 2 of his laps here. We'll see if he can set himself a decent time. I would think normally he'd say, oh, no big deal, he'd sit back in the pack, but the fact is he has to deal with Voss this evening, and that means he actually wants to qualify well, because if he's not up there early, he's going to get left behind. He, meanwhile, puts himself at 6.6 off the lead, and Hines is still sitting 9.5 seconds off the lead. On board right now with Cagle, seeing what he can do for his qualifying here. We'll keep an eye on the rest of the field. 5 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in qualifying. Oh, right at the end there, Kegel's lap gets dropped. That would have been a 133.7, so that's kind of disappointing. That's the tricky part of this track. It is really easy to find yourself off, particularly in the chicanes on it. They are really tricky. So half of our time remaining in qualifying, 5 minutes. Bear, meanwhile, sitting 5th. That might put him too far out there on that turn. We'll see what it says. Oh, as he goes and has a bit of a wreck, unfortunately. I think he's going to wind up restarting his lap there. All right. Bear sorting himself out. Meanwhile, Key just about to finish another lap, pushing his personal time down. Everybody having a rough time completing a lap so far. It is not an easy track, to be honest. Key pushes himself down to 4.7 seconds off the lead. Meanwhile, Hines finally puts himself down a solid lap, only 0.031 seconds off of Voss. These two have been at it ever since Hines joined this side of things. Oh, Key having a bit of an off after finishing another lap that put him 4.781 seconds off of the lead, so not looking shabby. Napes, meanwhile, 1.8 seconds off the lead. I guess he's decided that GP might be where he starts really getting some attention tonight. Everybody kind of has their class and their track. Hines, meanwhile, solid rate or qualifying best so far for every section, and can't manage to push it down any further. Oh, that last section is tricky. That wasn't a bad lap at all. It's just hard to push down any further than that. It's not an easy track at all. Voss, meanwhile, running the Suzuki, and frankly, on this track, the technical sessions are hard enough. I'd say the greater maneuverability makes a big difference. Voss resetting, not satisfied with how that turn went. Meanwhile, Bear having a bit of an off. He hasn't set a time yet. I'm hoping he will. Same for Kegel and Richard. Richard looking like his current lap will probably be invalidated, so he will probably have to run again to put a time on the board. Voss, meanwhile, just hauling ass on through and looking to set a time. Oh, Napes having an off. He can probably get one more lap in. But if he maintains that third place, that's not too bad. This track, though, on GP bikes, man, it's going to be a tricky one. It's going to be really unpredictable. Hines and Voss both on track to maybe move the times down for the entire group. Let's see what happens. What do we got here? It looks like Hines might have invalidated. Yep, at the last second, he invalidated his lap, probably coming through those chicanes. He's got one more lap to work on for qualifying. That's disappointing, because it looked like for a moment there he might manage to push the time down again. And that gives Voss an opportunity to do the same. It's go ahead and take a look at Voss finishing up his lap here. He actually could probably afford to run a slightly softer rear from what I'm seeing there. He's not even getting any heat into his rear tire. Oh, let's see what he does. Boom, and he moves it down probably another 0.2 seconds. Voss with a great lap, and he decides to take the flying lap to start things up again. Hines, meanwhile, 0.062 seconds off of Voss. These two are just close. Man, they're good. Napes also managing to move his time down just a bit as well, I believe. Oh, but Bear deciding that Napes doesn't belong on the front row, putting down a 1.281. Napes will get to finish out this lap. Oh, Cagle still hasn't finished the lap and has a wreck there, so he'll just start the race at the back. We'll see what he can do from there. Hopefully, he can work a little magic from the back row. He's not a slow guy at all, so we'll see what he can do with it. Hines, meanwhile, look at that! Pushes into first. A 132.281, putting Voss down 0.3 seconds. So everybody else will get to finish out their laps. We'll see what they get. Looks like we've got Dean, Richard, and that is going to be it for finishing out qualifying. I don't think either of them will move up, so it looks like your front row is going to be Hines, Voss, and Bear, which has happened a lot this evening. And in general. Yep, there you are. But don't count Napes out. He's not far off of there either. Dean, Key, and Jay. Oh, Dean and Key, excuse me. Gonna finish up your second row. Jay, Richard, Ignorance. You're gonna finish up your third row. I think we're missing one guy I didn't see there. Oh, yep, the one guy I didn't see, making a mistake there, is Cagle. Rough session for him. He couldn't manage to set a time. So we'll see if he can make something happen during the race. He's going to have a lot of people to get through to do it. Alrighty. Everybody dialing in final suspension selections, working on tires, and we'll see what they can do. Alrighty, folks. Looks like we've just got a little more readying up to go. Looks like Bear is our last one to ready up. We're going to start the last race of the evening, which is going to be GP class at Assen on the Xbox. Hope you're enjoying the Austin GP, folks. I'm having fun. All right, here we go, folks. This is going to be good. Okay, here it goes. Right off the line. Woo! We see a couple of wild rides out there into the field. Cagle having a wreck right off the bat. Meanwhile, Hines managing to keep that first place, and Voss hanging into second. Napes pushing his way up into third. Oh, man, Bear, unfortunately, having a bit of an off. Sorry about that, folks. A bit busy here in the studio for a moment. Things haven't changed too much while I've been gone, though. And, oh, Ignorance having a bit of an off. Meanwhile, Voss and Hines up front fighting with each other again, and Napes not letting them get away. Bear, despite that early off, continuing to hang on to fourth. That does put him almost 5 seconds back off of Napes. But nevertheless, it continues to be a solid fight up front. Hines, Voss, and Napes at it with each other. These guys have decided that they are not going to let anybody have anything easy. Look at this. Voss all over Hines' ass. Hines in Moto 2 was more solid on the technical sections, but better through the fast sections. We'll see if that's the pattern that continues here. Hines managing to stretch it out into the straights. Voss taking a good solid line through there, and it looks like Napes is falling back 6.1 seconds behind Voss and Hines. These two somehow fighting with each other doesn't seem to slow them down versus the rest of the pack. Oh man, Jay has a couple of offs real quick there. As Hines manages to put another 0.2 seconds out ahead of Voss. Voss trying to close the distance here through the chicanes, but just swings really wide into 16, and that costs him through 17 and 18. And Hines capitalizes on it, stretches it out, coming into one. Oh, man, look at Hines go. Absolutely flying through 1, 2, and 3. Man! Woo! Voss is having a hell of a time trying to catch up to that. Hines just suddenly finding nitrous. He is gone. Wow, that first section stretches his lead out into 2.1 seconds over the course of only one section. What the hell? Where did that come from? Oh, that was vicious. Voss managing to make a tiny bit up, but that may or may not just be a little bit of jitter in what's happening here. God damn. Wow, Hines took off there. That was just brutally quick. Ignorance having another off, unfortunately. And it looks like... I think we had somebody drop. I guess Jay. I'm not sure what's going on there. Key having another off, unfortunately. Naves 5 and it's 6.3. That changes. 6.3 seconds back off of our leaders. And Bear 2.8 seconds off of him. So we'll see what the competition for third place looks like. But Hines, if he keeps driving this way, man, there might not be a competition for first. Voss is going to hustle. It's 2.5 seconds ahead at this point. Voss has got it all to do to catch up to Hines. Hines has decided for this race he's just going to dominate it. We're not even halfway through and he's just flying. Whoa, whoa, a little bit of tail out action there. Voss, 2.5 seconds behind him. Bear, meanwhile, starting to get a look at Naves. So it looks like we're going to have he's having a little trouble keeping that tail end under control. I don't think he's quite getting it warmed up. I think he underestimated how hard a tire he needed to run with the cloudy weather. Maybe it's the fact that the temperature is generally given in something other than United States. Bear and Naves, though, it looks like they're going to be fighting over that third place slot. We'll try to keep an eye on first. Voss does actually have a look at Hines currently, but man, oh man. Hines has been good this evening. I don't think I've seen him go down once, save for maybe in the first race caught in all the bowling action. I don't remember. But he has had a good evening. So the one thing you don't want to do is let him get out in front or make a mistake when you're in front of him. Bear looking solid, but Nape's just having a great GP round. Look at him go. He is stretching that out. God damn. Bye, Napes. Bear pushing it as hard as you can. You can see him wobbling, trying to get around the track, winding up swinging wide, but still not enough to catch Napes. It might be. Napes might manage to get himself his podium that he hasn't had yet this evening. If he can stay consistent and stay out ahead of Bear, he's going to have it. Meanwhile, Voss still having a view of Hines, but just not able to close the distance. Hines now 2.6 seconds out ahead. And it's looking like our fight is going to be for third currently. We'll see. We'll try to keep an eye on the front of the pack and see what happens there. But third is sitting 13 seconds off of second place. So unless there's just major carnage at the front of the pack, it's looking like it's going to be a Hines and Voss show. Whichever one of them blinks or messes up first. And everybody else is going to be fighting for third, which currently everybody else consists of Napes and Bear. Napes cannot make a mistake, though, because Bear will be there the entire time to capitalize on it. He is not going to let him get away. You can see, though, Bear struggling to keep that bike under control. He needs to get more heat in that rear tire. He probably should have gone a step down, just a step softer, because that rear clearly just wasn't warm enough. Yep, and Napes has managed at this point to stretch it out 2.1 seconds ahead. Meanwhile, the front of the pack looking similar. Voss has managed to bring it down to a 1.8 second lead. We're at lap 7 and 9. He's going to have to hurry up if he wants to get that first place. Oh, and that will probably cost Bear. Yep, that, unless Napes makes a major mistake now. that drive around turn 5 may have cost him a tremendous amount. That might have cost him the race. We'll see. He's now 3.1 seconds behind. Man, I don't know what he can do with that. That is rough. Meanwhile, you can see your current standings there. Voss sitting 2 seconds even off of Hines. Napes another 14.5 seconds off of that. Bear 3 seconds off of him, and then Cagle is 10 seconds back. It's gotten spread out this evening. This is part of what happens a lot of times in GP. If a track is technical at all, man, these GP bikes, they just disappear on you. They can just stretch out the lead so quick because of how fast they are. Voss trying to close the distance on Hines, but still finding himself sitting around 2 seconds off. He just can't close it and keep it. I'd wager we're continuing to have a case of one of them being good on one part of the track, one being good on the other, and so there's just not a change between the two. You can see there from Voss's view, trying desperately to close that distance on Hines. Oh, and Bear having another off, unfortunately. That sucks. Meanwhile, Cagle about 8.5 seconds off of Bear. We'll see if he can close that distance. We're looking at the final lap.